This morning when I woke up and I was thinking about, what videos should we create this week, I realized that in the past, more than 50 videos, we haven't spoken much about project management and the delivery of projects. And the reason for that is that the YouTube analytics, it clearly shows that the majority of people that watch this channel are more interested in the technical side of things, and whenever I do a video on risk mitigation or something a bit like that, it has sort of less views. But in the big picture, project management and ensuring the financial success of a project is actually more important than the technical side and the nuts and bolts of what we do. If you think about the company owner, the person that owns the company that you work for, when they created this BMS company 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 100 years ago, they did not wake up one morning and think, I think it would be fun to create a BMS company. That didn't happen. They didn't wake up and phone two of their three closest friends to say, listen guys, let's put together a BMS company. Let's put our mortgages on the line and create a BMS company. It's going to be so much fun. That's not happened. BMS companies, just like every single other company in the world, they exist to make money and not for fun. So in today's video, we're going to start a little bit of a journey and start talking more about project management and delivery. And if you're a BMS engineer and you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, well, I'm just the BMS engineer, this isn't important to me, this video is actually being created specifically for you, because the gap that we have at the moment is not with the managers, the gap is with the engineers. Keep watching. One of the issues in project management and project delivery is that a lot of the time BMS engineers don't realize that they actually are the project manager. So BMS engineers often say to me, Bryce, I don't really want to be a project manager. I don't want that responsibility. I just want to be a project engineer and do my component of the project. And I look at them and I'm like, you are the manager. You are the project manager. So think about it like this. If your job title has the word project engineer in it, a lot of you, your job title is project engineer. Do you know where that title comes from? It's project manager plus engineer. Project manager plus engineer, project engineer. So if your title is project engineer, you are also the project manager. Sorry about that. And if your job title is engineer, and there is no dedicated project manager working on the project, sitting with you, running the project, if that person isn't sitting there, then you are also the project manager. You actually also have financial responsibility. So for a lot of you, think about that and stop saying, I'm just the engineer, I'm not the project manager. Most of you actually are the project manager. It's just someone forgot to tell you that. And I think that this confusion started like this. When I started working in the BMS industry a very long time ago, we didn't have all these system integrators or independent BMS companies. We pretty much just had the big manufacturers, at least where I was working. And all those companies had the same project delivery model. There was a dedicated project manager, a dedicated design engineer, a dedicated software programmer, and dedicated commissioning technicians. That was the project delivery model. At one stage in my career, I was a BMS design engineer for 4 years. So for 4 years, I just did design 40 hours a week for 4 years. Like just fine tuning and working out every single design element. I didn't do any project management, financial stuff, dealing with subcontractors, commissioning management plans, nothing. I didn't write software, I didn't do commissioning. I did those at other times. But for those 4 years, I just had my head down doing design for 4 years. the thing is that, and for some of you, that delivery model still exists. There will be some of you that are watching this video right now that work under that model, but the majority of you that are watching this video do not work under that model. That model is fast disappearing, and most companies are adapting to, and certainly all the companies that are coming up into the market from the last 10, 15 years, they follow the project engineer model. That's what I call it. The project engineer model is the project manager plus the engineer, where one person does almost everything. So for a lot of you, you do the design and you write the software programming. You may or may not do the commissioning, but either way, it's you doing the whole project, and your colleagues might help you with bits and pieces of things. But through that transition of the traditional business model to this project engineer model, people haven't realized that you, the BMS engineers, are also actually the managers. Now, here's something else I want you to think about. One of the problems that we have is that BMS people, myself included, all of us, whether you're BMS engineers, the branch manager, the service account managers, whoever you are, almost all of us, we started on the tools. Most of us entered the industry through commissioning, service, or maybe as a graduate doing software programming. So all of us, we love the technical side of what we do. There's nothing more satisfying than walking through a plant room at the end of a project, and there's pumps and fans and chillers and boilers and everything's running, and you have that really good satisfied feeling that you designed and built all that up. It's very satisfying. But I want you to think about this, that although technical stuff is very important, if you have a poor design or really bad software programming, or you don't commission the system properly, like for sure, you're going to have problems. Okay, so technical stuff is important, but I want you to stop and think about this for a second. Whether you like it or not, and whether people admit it or not, the performance, your performance as a BMS engineer or a project engineer will be measured on the success of your projects. And project success is sort of measured in financial success. It is very rare that the branch manager or the owner of your company is going to walk through your plant room and look around and think, oh, this is amazing. It's such a great job you did here. We're going to give you a bonus. You're going to get promoted. That doesn't happen. In the office, where the managers, middle management are, and branch managers, the way that they measure the success of projects is by the financial success of projects. So you could be a brilliant BMS engineer doing the best design, delivering the best projects. If your jobs don't make money every single time, somebody else, one of your colleagues who isn't technically as good as you, who does have more financial awareness, they are going to be gauged as a better engineer than you are. If you're a BMS engineer, you have to start behaving a bit more like a project manager. We all have to do that. So the question is, I want you to think about this, like really think about this. What do you do, every day, every week, every month, repeating the same tasks? What do you do as an individual to ensure the financial success of your project? That your projects are finished on time, on budget, with a satisfied customer. What do you do to ensure that? Because I bet you're spending a lot of time making sure the design is perfect. And while we're actually on this, a massive issue with BMS engineers, project managers, or project engineers, is the exact same problem that I personally had. I was an engineer coming into a management type of role. I was strong at BMS design and engineering, and I didn't want to let anybody down. So what I used to do is, whenever I was under massive pressure, I would be focusing on keeping the site running and moving forward. I'd be making sure that I'm, building panels on time and ordering materials on time and feeding information to, design engineers or software programmers and commissioning technicians to keep the project moving forward. And I was continually being directed by my client, the mechanical contractor, and the builder. Between the two of them, the mechanical contractor and the builder, or the head contractor, they were driving me to meet project programs that helped them achieve their milestones and their goals. And I see BMS engineers doing this all the time. They're doing an excellent job of keeping the machine moving and thinking ahead and building things, but they're so deep bogged down in that they don't have time to think about the project management functions, which usually when you're under pressure don't seem important. I've been there before, 8 o'clock at night, I'm sitting in the office and I'm thinking, either I design this control panel tonight and I can place orders for the control panel housing, DIN rail, trunking, circuit breakers, all the things I need so I can build these panels and have them delivered to site in 2 weeks, or I can work on my financial forecast. BMS engineers almost every time will focus on the on-site perceived critical path and not focus on these softer type of things. Because if you don't do your financial forecast and the 20 other things, tomorrow everything will still be fine. Next week, everything will still be fine. Next month, everything will still be fine. When you don't build the panel, things stop. But this is important, listen to this. At the end of the job, when you're sitting in the branch manager's office and they're saying to you, why did your project lose 5% margin? They are not going to care about how awesome your design was and how much time and effort you spent ensuring that the mechanical contractor and the head contractor achieved their goals. They're not going to care about that. They're going to care that their projects are not making the forecasted profit and the branch is not making the forecasted profit. And the branch manager looks like a failure to the national manager or the country manager. I'll put a link in the description below to an online training course that will teach you the exact same delivery model that I used as a BMS project manager and that I continually updated and perfected each time something went wrong. In 8 to 10 hours, you will know what I know about delivering projects on time, on budget, and with a satisfied customer.